world. Iran's supreme leader, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, is calling for the perpetrators of schoolgirl poisonings to be punished as attacks spread across the country. Mr. Khamenei claimed that the poisonings are a major and unforgivable crime, and the perpetrators must face the harshest punishment for incidents that have spread fear among parents and throughout Iranian society. Khamenei offered no clue as to who or what groups may be behind the poisonings. Recall that the first case of schoolgirls showing poisoning symptoms occurred in the city of Qom in late November, with dozens of girls taken to the hospital. Many similar cases had continued to take place in primary and secondary schools before spreading to the capital, Tehran, and at least 2 other cities at the start of March. The attacks increased over the past week across Iran after the issue received increasing media attention inside and outside Iran. Now, to speak on the spate of schoolgirl poisonings in Iran and its effect is journalist Francis Hughes. Thank you so much for joining us on World Now. What do you think are
really unconscionable when you consider that it is young girls and young women that are the target of whoever it is who's decided to try and poison these schoolgirls. The fact that it's schoolgirls and not schoolboys shows you that the targeted group of individuals are among the most vulnerable people in society. This is an attack not only upon the schoolgirls themselves, but upon their families and the wider community. If you consider that Iran has been under attack and there have been attempts to destabilize the regime and indeed have regime change in Iran since the revolution of 1979. We don't have to look too far to see what's happening. If you consider the recent riots and the recent of police officers and people involved in the civil administration, added to the IAEA push on the nuclear energy facilities in Iran, coupled to the JCPOA conundrum with America and the sanctions, and Israel's undeclared war on Iran, where they are constantly attacking and murdering Iranian scientists. It's obvious that it's not the Iranian government, it's not Iranian society that's behind these attacks. It's people who want to destabilize the whole of society, and that could be anyone from Mossad through to agents working on behalf of American hegemony in order to sow strife and fear and terror into the heart of Iranian society through attacks on their children, through attacks on young schoolgirls, is a case in hand.
The driver of a truck carrying chemicals that was seen near several affected schools was said to have also been arrested. Have you heard about any other arrests, and their punishment meted out on those responsible for the schoolgirls' poisoning?
No, there's very little information. I mean, I watch Press TV on a regular basis, and I mean, that's the Iranian national and international television service, and I've only heard of one person being arrested. I've heard that originally they thought the poisoning was in either bottled water or the water sources in the schools, and that appears to be some form of a gas inhalation that is causing fatigue. Some of the children can't breathe. It's affecting the red corpuscles in the blood that carry the oxygen and leave the children very debilitated. So whoever's doing it is well hidden within Iranian society, but I hope they're caught. I hope they're brought to justice, and I hope they are severely punished for putting so many young children's lives at risk. And it can't be one individual because it's happening all over the country. So this is an organized attempt to destabilize a peaceful society where people are in harmony with the government and the government's policies.
Right. Francis, a journalist covering news in Qom who was following up on the attacks was also arrested. One would be wondering why. But what role does the media play in covering incidents of violence and injustice in Iran? And how do you think the media reported on this particular incident?
Well, I did a tiny wee bit of research earlier myself. I mean, there are purportedly videos out there of people claiming that the Iranian security forces fired tear gas at families who were trying to find out information about what happened to the children. The wall propaganda on what is happening in the Ukraine, in the Donbass, and how Russia is responsible for everything that's happening there, when that's all come down to the coup in 2014. And I'm not trying to get off topic. I'm trying to make the point that propaganda through journalism and through civil activism can be very detrimental to the story that is put out locally, nationally, and internationally as to what's happening on the ground. I don't know why this particular journalist was arrested, but it's quite possible that they're spreading disinformation, again, as part of a propaganda war to destabilize Iranian society.
Yeah, very quickly before I let you go, what does this incident reveal about the state of children's safety and security in Iran? And what steps do you think can be taken to improve the situation?
Sure, how without putting guards 24 hours a day on every school premises in Iran, you can protect the children. But I mean, people could do this in America if they wanted, or in Russia, or in China, or indeed in Ireland. All it takes is an organized group of people working in tandem in the background to decide that their political agenda will involve poisoning children. So I don't see how any government in any country in the world can guarantee the safety of any of its civilians 24 hours a day. And sadly, that includes school children, who are among the most vulnerable people in all our societies.
We'll continue to follow how the government of Iran handles this situation. Journalist Francis Hughes, thank you so much for your time. Thank you.
Thank you.
Let's bring you up to speed.